OutLast by Keegan. Spoken by a cappella. It has only been 10 minutes from when I broke into OutLast, the asylum for the mentally insane, and I've squealed in terror as a patient seemingly emerges from thin air and accuses me of being sick. He was dressed in a straitjacket and tied up in a detention cell, and he's calling me sick. I put the past behind me and carried on to try and find the uproar that was going on in this hellhole they call an asylum. I came across a hallway, the floor covered in blood and the walls painted red with the blood of an inmate. I dared go down it, but it would provide a world-class cover story for the American Express which I couldn't pass up. The lights flickered as I walked down the depressing hallway. A sudden scream from which sounded like it came from the last room at the end of the hallway jolted my heart and stopped my movement. Everything went silent for a minute. I was pondering if I should keep going or if I should turn back and leave behind the cover story of a lifetime. My curiosity got the better of me, so I kept on my path to find out who had made that scream. I got to the end of the hallway and stood in front of the old pine wood door and tried to push it open, but it pushed back. I placed my shoulder on the door and counted to 3 and pushed. I found the person who screamed. He was lying on the floor, that's why I couldn't open the door. His spine was outside his body, his head around the other way, and his feet amputated. The sight was horrific. I felt like I was going to be sick. But it came to mind, where was the psycho that killed this innocent man? I looked around the room and didn't find anything except a bloody knife and an open window. I looked back at the body. The man had a name tag on his striped shirt. His name was Rick and he worked in the IT department for the asylum. I wandered out the door to a shocking sight of a man standing towards the exit wearing a necklace with feet attached to it. My mind started racing, thinking of questions like, is he the killer? Am I going to die? How am I going to escape this asylum? I swiftly moved back into the room, and with no hesitation I grabbed the knife and stepped out the window and placed my feet onto an edge and started to shimmy my way across to another window sill which had miraculously been left open. I slowly and swiftly hopped into a room which was barely lit and crawled to the doorway which led into the gloomy hallway. I was hesitant to stick my head out the door to see if the man was gone or not. I acquired the courage to check, and when I did, he was no longer there. I stood up and started to jog to the exit, which was no more than 7 meters away from my previous location. I arrived at the door. I clamped the handle and jerked it open. I ran out of the building and entered into the east wing of the asylum. To my surprise, I discovered an empty cell block. I found the main entrance, and I quickly ran to it. I reached the door, pushed it open, and then... darkness. The light had escaped my sight. The darkness had consumed me.